everyone, and welcome back to the Football Chuggu Podcast. My name is Thomas Durning, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Pearse McLaughlin. Hello, Pearse.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well. On today's podcast, we'll be reacting to last weekend's English Premier League and Scottish Cup results. We'll briefly discuss the massive Bundesliga match last weekend between Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich. We would also discuss the possibility of blue cards. And at the end of the podcast, Pearse will be giving a rundown of all the latest Asian football news. So we'll start by reacting to last weekend's English Premier League results. So on Saturday, the 10th of February, the results were Manchester City 2, Everton 0, Liverpool 3, Burnley 1, Wolves 0, Brentford 2, Tottenham 2, Brighton 1, Luton 1, Sheffield United 3, Fulham 3, Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 2, Newcastle 3. And then on Sunday, the 11th of February, there was two matches. That was West Ham 0, Arsenal 6, Aston Villa 1, Man United 2. And then yesterday, which was Monday, the 12th of February, there was only one match, and that was Crystal Palace 1, Chelsea 3. So, Pearse, which match excited you the most from last weekend?
I think for me, there's two standout fixtures. I think the biggest one, which I think is the standout fixture from the full weekend, has got to be West Ham United 0, Arsenal 6. I don't think anyone would ever have envisaged that happening in terms of that scoreline, because we associate David Moyes' West Ham side as being quite solid at the back and dangerous from set pieces. And at half time, they were 4-0 down. I thought all the goals were superb, and quite unlike his Arsenal goals were quite unlike Arsenal. Could you expect Arsenal to be free flowing, passing the ball basically into the back of the net? But they were all kind of like set pieces goals. You had Gabriel, you had William Saliba scoring for two set pieces for former Hammer, Declan Rice, and then Declan Rice scored an absolute stun on the second half, which he didn't celebrate. I'd definitely be celebrating that, regardless if it's your former side. But I think it just shows you the respect he has for the club. But I think obviously the main talking point for that game was like the majority of the stadium, the home support was just left at half time, and I think you could hear the boos around the stadium. They're the ones that remain for David Moyes. I don't think the West Ham fans are too happy, but I do feel as if like the grass isn't always greener. Because you see what happened the first time David Moyes left, they nearly got relegated. He came back, saved them, got them into Europe, got them a European trophy. And I think he's built a solid side. I think obviously he's got a poor running form at the moment, but I think with his experience and his know-how of the Premier League, I think he will be able to turn it around. And I think it just shows Arsenal are just, they're in there for the title race and they mean business this season again. And it just shows you like all the top sides and the top three you would say all won this weekend. And but no, that's a statement victory. Regardless if West Ham been a poor running form, I don't think many people go to West Ham and win 6-0. And it just shows you the variety of the goals that Arsenal scoring. And no, they're real title contenders for me. And then the other game has got to be Aston Villa 1, Manchester United 2. Again, I thought Manchester United got an early lead, but I think like Aston Villa just totally dominated that match from start to finish. Ollie Watkins at the heart of it. In another day, could have had 3 or 4 goals. Most of his shots were kind of straight at Onana, who did position himself well and made a couple of good saves. Most noticeably from John McGinn's powerful effort towards goal in the first half. But I thought Aston Villa played really well, and they get sucker punched right at the end through the super sub and the Scottish hero that is Scott McTominay. I don't know how many times he's going to come to the well and just save Manchester United. And long may that continue for the Euros coming up in the summer. Because anytime he goes onto the party, it just seems as if he's in that box, he just knows he's going to score. And I don't know how many times like Manchester United will keep bringing him off the bench because I feel as if like it goes overlooked. Like someone like Bruno Fernandes, I just he doesn't really get that many goals or assists. And McTominay, that's his position, and you can see the amount of goals that he gets, and obviously an academy graduate. And I don't think it's a much love and appreciation. I think him and Harry Maguire for me have been how they've turned their fortunes around because they look destined to leave in the summer for West Ham, and they're probably the two standout performers at the moment for Manchester United, as they've kind of started to pick up results and gain momentum in the Premier League and get aimed towards that top six, top four. And that's the two standout fixtures for me this weekend in the Barclays Premier League.
Yeah, the matches are both my standout matches as well. So just briefly starting with the West Ham 0 Arsenal 6 match. A match that I expected Arsenal to win, but I never thought that Arsenal would win by 6 goals to 0. Because as you said, with a David Moyes team, you don't really see that often. Especially at West Ham's home because they were at home as well. So that was a really big significant result, more for Arsenal because I mean, I said it last week after the Liverpool match, but they are well and truly now in this title race. It's definitely going to be exciting. We're not at the end yet in terms of the running, but like it looks like now it's going to be between Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City, which is going to be really exciting. Declan Rice just had to score, didn't he? I mean, it was such a good goal as well. Outside the box, and he smashed it at the top corner. He got 2 assists on the day as well. So yeah, it just went from bad to worse for West Ham during the match. And David Moyes is, as you said, he is under. I'd say he's under pressure now because I don't think West Ham have won a league match since they beat Arsenal at home back in December. So things are pretty tough there at the moment. And David Moyes, the fans, they're not happy, as you just said. They think they should be getting better at the players that they've got because they do have a lot of good players like Kudus, for example, and Jared Bowen, just to name a few. But I think David Moyes, he kind of said something at the gate after the game where he said that he would have to think about where they can fix it in terms of the West Ham problems, and I thought that was kind of significant because usually managers would say that they'll try and fix it and they'll do what they can to fix it. But the fact that it was the way he said it as well, just kind of suggested that he is kind of contemplating where he is. He should be the manager or not of West Ham. So that was quite an interesting quote. But that was definitely the standout match on the weekend. And then also Aston Villa won, Man United 2. A big result for Man United. Because it's just they've had a really tough season. But that's now back-to-back wins they've got in the league. 2 away wins as well in a row. And to go to Aston Villa and win 2-1, and Aston Villa have been flying this season. It's pretty significant. You are right in terms of I did think Aston Villa probably did deserve to win the match. I think they had the better chances in the game, especially in the second half. They had quite a good few chances. But Man United just kind of kept on going, and at the end, Scott McTominay gets a winner. And as you just said, he is underappreciated. That he's very underrated, in my opinion. He always seems to get vital goals to Man United. I think he's one of the top scorers this season, as well, which kind of is quite mad because he's not even in the first 11. He's a squad player at the moment. But he just seems to pop up with these big goals for Man United all the time. And scores a winner. Scores a winner at the weekend. So it does seem to think that Man United have turned a corner the last couple of weeks or so. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of finish the season because I don't think they will finish top four, but I think they are going to try and fight for it, and they'll probably just about get close. But I don't think they'll have enough to make top four. But we'll see. So these were the two matches for me. And so we'll move on now to the Scottish Cup results, which were last week. So I'll briefly just go through them. So on Friday, the 9th of February, we had one Scottish Cup match, which was Morton 2, Motherwell 1. On Saturday, the 10th of February, the matches were Aberdeen 2, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Inverness 1, Hibs 3, Kilmarnock 2, Cove Rangers 0, Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 3, Rangers 2, Ayr United 0. And then on Sunday, the 11th of February, we had two matches, which were St Mirren 0, Celtic 2, and Airdrie 1, Hearts 4. So, Pearse, is there a match there that stands out to you?
Again, I think we'll choose two matches. I think the first one I'll touch on will be I think it's like the cup shock from this weekend was Green at Morton 2, Motherwell 1. I think Motherwell had a terrific victory last weekend. The previous weekend against Ross County in the Premier League, where they won 5-0. We touched on it last week's podcast. Bliss was a standout. And then they go to high fly Morton in the Championship. And I think they didn't cover themselves in glory defensively. And I think Liam Kelly's taking a lot of the flack, especially for the two goals. But I think you've got to credit Dougie Emery's side. I think he's got them playing a nice brand of football, and I think they thoroughly deserved a victory. I thought they had some terrific football at times, and they caused Motherwell all sorts of problems, and you wouldn't be able to tell who's the Championship side and who's the Premier League side, and that's an indictment to how well he's got that Morton side playing. And the other result has got to be the Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 3. So Partick Thistle again, I think the low league side is we're 2-0 up in the first half. And Livingston themselves this season in the SPL are rooted to the bottom of the table, struggling to score goals. Defensively, they're all over the place. It's just been a difficult season for David Martindale at Livingston. But Joe Newbley managed to turn the game around and it forced extra time. And then with the last kick of the game, the January signing, Yengi, the big 6'6" striker, managed to flick a header and get an unlikely victory, which may be a catalyst for the season, Livingston, because they've not had too much to shout about, but they're in the hat for the next round, and I think that for me, it could kickstart the season. An unlikely survival, but stranger things have happened, and they're in the hat for the next round, and so I think they two are the standout fixtures for me for the Scottish Cup.
They two matches for me as well were the standout matches for me. The match especially was the Partick Thistle 2, Livingston 3 match. I thought that was, a brilliant match. As you just said, Livingston scoring in the last minute of the game. The big 6-foot striker Yengi, who gets a winner for Livingston. But Partick Thistle will be kicking themselves because they were in the league that game. I think a couple of times in that game as well. So they'll be kicking themselves, and that was kind of an opportunity missed. And then David Martindale might look at this match and think that this could hopefully for him kind of revitalise Livingston's season, and hopefully they might take a bit of confidence from it. I don't know if that will happen, but that was their first win in quite a while as well. So yeah, that match was definitely my standout match from the weekend, just in terms of the kind of excitement from it. And then I also just want to briefly touch on the fact that Morton beat Motherwell, which was the shock of the round. Morton, they've been on a brilliant run the last couple of months or so, because they had a really bad start to the season. But they've kind of picked it up, and they're on such a good run, and such a brilliant result for them to beat Motherwell, who again have been on really good form. They beat Ross County in the last match 5-0, so that was quite a big shock, because I did expect Motherwell to win that because just the fact that they've turned it around their form. But the fact that Morton won is quite a big shock. So they two are my two standout matches on the weekend. and the Scottish Cup will return pretty soon. So when it does, we'll discuss the matches that were played the next round. So we just want to briefly touch on a bit of news that came out last week about the fact that there could be an introduction into football with blue cards. It's quite it kind of came out of the blue. It wasn't really expected, but apparently that they might be thinking about using blue cards, which would mean that say a player fouled another player, then the blue card would be shown, and then that would mean that you'd be sin binned for 10 minutes. And then you'd come back on after that 10-minute period was over. So I don't know. I just want to ask you about it, Pearse. Like, what do you think about it? Do you think it's a good idea, or do you think it's a bad idea,
I think it's a terrible idea.
or a terrible idea?
I think it's an absolute travesty if it happens to football, because we all love the passion and the intensity and the pace of the game. I think this will just slow it down even further. And obviously, you've seen recently with VAR, you're getting 10 minutes added on at the end of the first half, and then sometimes 20 minutes added on at the end of the game. Could end up being like a 3-4 hour match for football. Be turning into the NFL at this rate. And obviously, you're sin binning a player for 10 minutes, which again, you're leaving a team temporarily down to 10 men. They cannot substitute that player. And then you're just sitting at the side waiting to get back on. And you're then expected to then get back up to the pace of the game. And the games are usually really high paced, high tempo, and at the best of times it's really difficult for substitutes. So to be down to 10 men for 10 minutes, it's probably better than a sending off, but for me, it just overcomplicates things. And apparently, keepers can also be sin binned as well, so they're not exempt from it. So what happens if your keeper shows dissent to the referee and he gives him a blue card? Your keeper's to sit off outside for 10 minutes. You got to put a centre back in goals. You can't substitute the keeper off. So I think it's just overcomplicating things. I think you need to keep it simple. You either get booked, as a yellow card, you get a warning, you get a yellow card, you get sent off. I think that just makes it easier. And I think you can see the reaction from players, fans, pundits, and social media. I think they all share the same point of view at the moment. And I think it will be tested, but I think it shouldn't. Or if you're going to do it, you have to really simplify it and be crystal clear. But as you see with your offside, nothing's crystal clear. Then sometimes it takes a long time for people to get used to it. But I think blue cards is not the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a terrible idea. I don't even know why it's blue as well. Like, uh, you know, I thought it'd be like I don't know, like orange or something. It's just that the fact that it's blue as well, I just don't understand. But anyway, no, I think it's a terrible idea because the main thing I just think about is the amount of time wasting it would happen. Because if you're going to get a player that gets a blue card, they're off the pitch for 10 minutes, that team that's down to 10 men are going to wait for 10 minutes and they're just going to waste as much time as possible until they get that player back on the pitch. And that just ruins the spectacle of the match. I just think that was one of the kind of thoughts that first entered my mind about the blue card introduction. I just would hate it, and you're right. I mean, like I just think it's just overcomplicating things as well. Just stick to red cards and yellow cards, and just stick with that. Even that's controversial at the moment because we don't even know what a red card is, and we don't even know what a yellow card is. So, what happens if it's a blue card? How can you get a blue card? Like, what rules does it come under if you get a blue card? It's just ridiculous. Because like, say you do get a blue card, then people might go, "Oh no, I think that was a yellow card," and then people might say, "No, I think it was a red card." So it would just cause so much. It would just cause so many arguments. I think it's a terrible idea, and I really hope it doesn't get introduced because I really do think it would ruin the spectacle when you're watching whatever match you're watching. So yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on that, but it's safe to say we both totally disagree with it. So I just want to briefly just return to the results of last weekend. So I just wanted to touch on briefly the Bundesliga match between Bayer Leverkusen and Bayern Munich. So they two teams at the moment are kind of fighting for the Bundesliga title. And the match finished Bayer Leverkusen 3, Bayern Munich 0. So that now means that Bayer Leverkusen are 5 points clear of Bayern Munich. And Bayer Leverkusen are still unbeaten this season. In the league, they haven't lost a match yet. So, Pearse, I just wanted to ask you about kind of Bayer Leverkusen, and the season that they're having, and what did you think about the match as well?
I don't think I was surprised. But you're maybe hoping that a bit of magic from Harry Kane or Leroy Sané, Jamal Musiala would inspire Bayern to an unlikely victory. Because obviously they are the 11 time winners of the Bundesliga in a row, and you expect them to go on and win it again, and you expect the wheels to come off with Bayer Leverkusen. But as you're seeing, it's actually turmoil was actually quite happening in Munich, whereas in Leverkusen it's just all rosy and it's the wheels keep on turning. And I think they're playing some phenomenal football, and rightly so. Xabi Alonso's been tipped to take over Liverpool, potentially Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, whenever the job opportunities come up, because as you see, stock is on the rise. The brand of football, it's free flowing, and the two main components of the side, if you watch the side, is Grimaldo on the left wing back and also Jeremy Frimpong on the right wing back, and both of them scored at the weekend. Um, and most of the strikers that they have are getting a lot of goals and assists. So there's goals from all over the park. There's constantly they just want to attack. And it's exciting to see, and maybe to have another Bundesliga winner would be an exciting thing for the German league, but maybe not an exciting thing for Harry Kane, who made a massive move to try win a trophy, and who knows, he could enter the trophy list this season, and that's just something that he left Tottenham for. So maybe he regrets that, but they're very much in the hunt for Europe. But in the Bundesliga, 5 points is a big gap at this stage of the season. And Leverkusen don't seem to be easing up anytime soon. And as you see, they're thoroughly deserved a victory. And yeah, I think they excite me. And it's just a fantastic performance and victory at the weekend.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I wasn't surprised, to be honest, the fact that Leverkusen won, because I don't think Bayern Munich have been really that good this season. But yeah, it's the total opposite for Bayern Leverkusen. They've just been amazing all season. The style of football that they play is really good. Um, their two fullbacks, Grimaldo and Jeremy Frimpong, have just been on fire. Jeremy Frimpong's a former Celtic player as well. But Grimaldo, I think it's 10 goals this season, and he's a left back, and then he's got about 6 assists. That could be the opposite way around, but I mean, his numbers this season in terms of contributing to goals has just been amazing for a left back as well. It's quite unheard of. But they play such good football unit as well. Xabi Alonso's getting all the headlines at the moment. It's quite obvious he's the kind of hot prospect in terms of young managers at the moment in Europe. And if they win the Bundesliga title, which, let's be honest, is now going to be likely that they are going to win it, I think Bayer Leverkusen are going to have a fight in their hands to kind of keep him, especially with the obvious news that Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool. So Liverpool will want a new manager, and with Xabi Alonso's links to Liverpool, it just kind of looks like it's all written in the stars for Xabi Alonso to go to Liverpool. But you never know; it might not happen. You don't know, but it does kind of look like that would happen. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly, about the Bayer Leverkusen and the the match at the weekend. And yeah, it does look like the Bayer Leverkusen are going to go on and win the Bundesliga this season. So we'll just briefly touch on the Champions League matches that are playing this week. So the Champions League returns after being away for a couple of months. So we're now into the last 16 in the Champions League. So there'll be 4 matches played in the Champions League this week, and that is Copenhagen versus Man City, RB Leipzig versus Real Madrid. They 2 matches are playing tonight, which is at the time we're recording this is Tuesday, 13th of February. So tomorrow, Wednesday, the 14th of February, the 2 matches that are getting played are Lazio versus Bayern Munich and PSG versus Real Sociedad. So, Pearse, I just want to ask you, is there a match there that stands out to you and that you're most looking forward to?
I think all the matches are part of the Man City game because I think we can yeah,
Yeah,
we can
I know.
completely write off Copenhagen. No disrespect to Copenhagen, but I think Man City, with the fact is the players are getting back in the moment, they're demolishing teams, and I expect them to do the same. Although I will be keeping a nice wee eye out for Scott McKenna, who's recently transferred to there. So good to see him getting minutes to the Champions League and obviously in the Danish league for the Euros up in the summer. But no, in terms of the Real Madrid Leipzig, Leipzig again have not been great this season. I think they've dropped off quite significantly. Marco Rose hasn't been in the greatest of form for his side at the moment. But as you see, Real Madrid are high flying, and they've had their injury crisis this season, especially the back line. I don't know if you've seen their back line, but Carvajal's playing centre half alongside Tchouaméni, and then you've got Lucas Vazquez, Ferland Mendy at fullback, and obviously they've got Courtois out until probably the semi-final if they make it that far, because he'd done his ACL at the start of the season. So, but again, they go from strength to strength. Bellingham being the key component. His season has just been absolutely tremendous. I don't think anyone would have envisaged it being as successful as it is. And obviously they beat Girona at the weekend as well, so they'll be in confident spirits. Top of the Bundesliga, top of the La Liga, and you expect them to beat Leipzig in Germany. I think Lazio Bayern will be a really close one. Bayern will be wanting to get that victory in terms of get that defeat out of the way as soon as possible. And Lazio will be a tough test because they've had some significant victories, most noticeably against Celtic in the group stage, and obviously Atletico Madrid as well. So no, they'll be a tough nut to crack. I expect goals in that, and I think it'll be quite high scoring as well. And obviously PSG, Real Sociedad, I think you expect PSG to win, but for me it's quite a nice wee meeting in terms of PSG. You've got Lee Kang-In, and then Real Sociedad, you've got Takefusa Kubo, so that's a nice wee love interest there on Valentine's Day, South Korea and Japan. We match up there, so it'll be quite interesting to see. But no, all four matches I think they'll be exciting to see, and it's good to have the Champions League back, and that's when, for me, real football starts.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. The match that stands out to me the most, that I'm most looking forward to, is the RB Leipzig Real Madrid match from this week in the Champions League. I just think, RB Leipzig, they're a top Bundesliga side. They haven't been amazing this season, but they're still kind of fighting for that kind of Champions League places in the Bundesliga. And Real Madrid, who got a really good result at the weekend against title contenders Girona. So Real Madrid are going into this with confidence. They've lost Bellingham for a couple of weeks, but I don't think that's going to really, topple them. It's not really going to affect them. I do expect Real Madrid to get through this tie pretty. I wouldn't say comfortably, but I think they will get through the tie. But RB Leipzig are quite a threat. I'm just kind of looking forward to it because I know how good kind of RB Leipzig are kind of on the counter attack, for example. They've got some really good players kind of going forward. But that's the match from this week's Champions League that I'm most looking forward to. And as you just said, uh, it's always exciting when the Champions League comes back at this time of year because that's when it really starts. And that's when Champions League gets really competitive. So looking forward to it, talking about it more in the podcast in the weeks to come. So for the final part of the show, Pearse will now give his Asian football roundup.
Yeah. So Asian football news. So Over the Pitch and Guinness have collaborated to make two football shirts. So the South Korean design studio recently unveiled two shirts as part of a collaboration with Guinness. So inspired by the branding and stylings of the Irish drink, the shirts feature 59 on the back, referencing Guinness being founded in 1759. Both look fantastic pieces of football/streetwear. And it'll be interesting to see how quickly they fly off the shelves in South Korea. But no, they look really, really nice, and it's be a nice wee piece to get your hands on. So the Japanese Football League season kicks off on Saturday, the 17th of February, as Vissel Kobe face off against Kawasaki Frontale in the Japanese Super Cup final. So the match will be held at Vissel Kobe's Novia Stadium, Kobe, and the match will kick off at 1:35 p.m. Korean Southern Time. A massive tie which gets us all excited for the G League One season, which kicks off on the following weekend, Friday, the 23rd of February. So that's a nice wee thing to get is the Asian, basically the Japanese and Korean league up and running in the not too distant future. So Takefusa Kubo has extended his contract with Real Sociedad until 2029. Kubo joined Real Madrid from FC Tokyo in 2019 and transferred to Real Sociedad in the summer of 2022 after being loaned out to Real Mallorca, Villarreal and Getafe. The former Barcelona youth player has slotted in well with Real Sociedad, scoring 9 goals last season, the most by a Japanese player in a single Spanish top-flight campaign. Real Sociedad has advanced to the round of 16 in of the European Champions League this season, where they'll face PSG. And this is what Kubo had to say on signing his new deal. My wish is to continue growing hand in hand with this team. So here is your Asian Cup 2023 Qatar team of the tournament, which features Lee Kang-In as a sole representative from South Korea, as he was Korea's go-to man as they reached the semi-final. There's no players from Japan, and so congratulations to Qatar for winning the Asian Cup on home soil, as they now have back-to-back wins of the Asian Cup. So the KFA have already decided to hold a meeting amongst technical director Wang Bo-Kwan and national team committee chief Michael Muller to discuss Korea's Asian Cup campaign. So the decision on Klinsmann's future with Korea will be made no later than next week. So sacking Klinsmann would cost the KFA more than $5 million. It's under consideration at the moment, and Klinsmann is already back in the US, which is also been a massive stumble block in his tenure so far. Whereas the fact is he doesn't really tend to watch any K-League action or reside in Korea as the first team manager, where he wants to stay mostly in Europe and in the US with his family. So the AFC Champions League round of 16 first legs kicked off tonight, and the first match that was played was on obviously tonight, Tuesday the 13th of February, and that was Shandong Taishan 2, Kawasaki Frontale 3. And then tomorrow night we have 2 matches on Valentine's Day, the 14th of February, and that's Jeonbuk Hyundai Motors versus Pohang Steelers. That's the K-League matchup, and that's set for a 7 p.m. kickoff. And then also later on we have Bangkok United versus Yokohama F. Mariners, which is a 9 p.m. kickoff, and I'll be covering that match tomorrow night and have a match report up on the Football Chuggu website later on tomorrow night. And then round off is on Thursday, the 15th of February. We have Ulsan HDFC, the K-League 1 champions, against Vent Foru Kofu of J League 2. And that's set for a 7 p.m. kickoff. And yeah, that's exciting times in terms of the Asian Champions League back. Round of 16, exciting times. First legs, and second leg will be played in a week's time. So yeah, exciting times. And that's all your latest Asian football news.
Thank you, Pearse. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of the Football Chuggu Podcast. This podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu YouTube channel, also the Football Chuggu website. Thanks for listening and see you soon.
Bye-bye.